Good morning. Today we learn History chapter 13, Modern Age in Europe, and we learn about Industrial Revolution. In previous class we learned about Renaissance. The Renaissance marked lots of changes in Europe and in other parts of the world. Attitude of human being changed. The thinking way also changed, and all these changes caused for lots of developments in Europe and in other parts of the world. And one of such change is the Industrial Revolution. So this lesson we have to learn about 2-3 topics only. One is what is Industrial Revolution. Industrial Revolution. Another one, capitalism, and a third one, socialism. So these are the things we have to learn. You note down the syllabus. Syllabus is given at the top of this lesson. Is given meaning of Industrial Revolution, then a comparative study of capitalism and socialism. Okay, so note down the syllabus. Industrial Revolution, meaning of Industrial Revolution, what is capitalism and what is socialism. Okay, let us start. First we start with the Industrial Revolution. What is Industrial Revolution? By the second half of 18th century and the first half of 19th century, lot of developments took place in Europe in the production of commodities. All these changes took place in the production of commodities between the period of second half of 18th century and first half of the 19th century is termed as Industrial Revolution. Lots of changes took place. What are the changes took place? Earlier is till 18th century, production was carried on by a group of people or people of a locality. They produced the things manually. Okay, that was the main thing, produce the things manually using their hands. They are working together. People are working together. That may be members of a family together work, and or sometimes members of a locality, they work together in order to produce the things. We have heard of cottage industries and small scale industries. Cottage industries or small scale industries are production concerns where large number of people are working in order to produce commodities, but they are not using any machineries, and if machineries are using, there is also very simple machineries. Mostly people are manually producing the things. But a slight change took place after the first half of 18th century, or in the second half of 18th century. Slight change took place in the field of production. So many machineries were invented during the Renaissance period, and the people started to think of how to utilize these machineries in order to increase the production. So they assembled, they set together these different simple machines, and big machineries were invented. People found that these big machineries can be used for producing the things. Thus, machineries were brought together, and people started to produce commodities or goods with the help of these machineries. As a result, production increased manifold. So this change or the increased production with the use of or with the help of machineries is termed as industrial revolution. You might have heard of green revolution, white revolution. So these are revolutions, but what does this revolution word means? The word revolution here means not any war or any conflict or any fighting. A radical change, that is the meaning of revolution here. A radical change, a sudden change, that is a revolution. So green revolution, that means by using science and technology, agricultural production has been increased manifold. Though this change in the field of agricultural production is termed as green revolution. With the use of science and technology, production of milk increased manifold. This is termed as white revolution, and this does not mean any fighting or war. Same way, with the use of science and technology and with the help of machineries, industrial production also increased manifold, and this is termed as industrial revolution. Production of goods and commodities increased manifold, and this is termed as industrial revolution. So, in Middle Ages and in the earlier times, people were producing the things manually. And now with the industrial revolution or in the modern age, people started to produce things with the help of machineries. Big machines were used in order to produce the things. Industrial revolution can be termed as shifting of production from manually to machine with the help of machineries. Shifting of production by hands with the help of machineries can be termed as industrial revolution. And earlier, people were producing things at their home only. People are sitting together, members of family sit together, or members of a neighborhood sit together, and they are producing the things. So domestic production was there. Now this domestic production was shifted to factories. With the industrial revolution, there is no more domestic production. Big buildings were set up, and in these buildings, big machineries were installed, and with the help of these machineries, people started to produce the commodities or things. So domestic production was shifted or replaced to industrial production or production in the factories. Two of the main changes took place by the second half of 18th century and in the first half of 19th century in the field of production. First, production by hand or manual production was shifted to machine-made production. Secondly, domestic production was shifted to factory production, factory-made commodities. So, with the use of these machineries, the production of commodities and goods increased manifold. In very less time, huge quantity of commodities were produced, and the quality of the commodities produced in the machineries or in the industries were far superior than the commodities produced manually. Two advantages of the industrialization or two advantages of the industrial revolution. Production increased manifold. Second one, production of superior quality commodities. Commodities produced in the industries were far superior than the commodities produced manually. Secondly, production increased manifold. That means in very less time, large or huge quantity of commodities were produced. And the industrial revolution first started in England. people first started to produce things with the help of machineries. Gradually, or with the passage of time, they started big, or they constructed buildings in order to install the machineries, and in a more systematic way they started their production. And this type of buildings where big machineries were installed and they started production, this type of buildings came to be known as factories or industries. So this in the beginning time, few people who were having money, they made all the arrangements to set up factories and industries. And with the passage of time, more and more people, they invested money, they spent money in order to construct factories and in order to purchase machineries, and thus large number of people involved in the production of commodities, different types of commodities in factories. So large number of industries or factories started in England. That is in the beginning time. And with this production, the demand for handmade goods decreased. Demand for machine-made goods increased because these were superior in quality, and the second thing was it is cheaper in rate. So industrial production, demand for the industrialized goods increased. So first England set up industries, and England was the first country to be industrialized. By the first half of 19th century, most of the European nations became industrialized. But the other nations, Asian nations, were not at all industrialized then. Much later only, Asian, African nations became industrialized. Okay. Anyhow, with the industrialization or industrial revolution, two new sections or society was divided into two classes. A new economic form, economic system came into being, that is called capitalism. A new economic setup was developed or came into being as a result of the industrial revolution, that is called capitalism. Two economic systems came into being as a result of industrial revolution. They are capitalism and socialism. Socialism is a product of capitalism only. Okay, and capitalism is a product of industrial revolution. And what is this capitalism? Capitalism is, we can define capitalism as an economic system in which people who are having money, they are investing money in order to earn more and more profit. That system is known as capitalism. Its definition is given, you just underline the definition. Capitalism, page number 114, it is given, just underline. The economic system which generates and gives power to capitalists came to be known as capitalism. Page number 114, second paragraph, second line. The economic system which generates and gives power to capitalists came to be known as capitalism. Then what is this capitalist? Then what is capital? Okay, when we learn about capitalism, we must have an idea about capital and capitalist. Capital means, its definition also given in the beginning of that page. The wealth could be used for generating more wealth, which came to be called capital. The wealth which is used for generating more wealth or money is known as capital. The wealth which is used to generate more wealth is known as capital. And the person who is having capital is called a capitalist. And the system, the economic system based on capital is known as capitalism. Or the economic system which gives more power to the capitalist came to be known as capitalism. So what is capital? Capital is the wealth which is used to generate more wealth. For example, I am having much money. I am having money, and I spend this money in order to open a shopping mall. Okay, I am planning to open a shopping mall, and I am having wealth. I am having money with me. Then I hire a building in order to open a shopping mall. Okay, to hire a building, I need to spend money. I am investing money. Okay, the money which I invested in order to hire a building so that I can open a shopping mall, that money is my capital. I am spending money in order to generate more money or earn more money. So that money is capital. By spending that money, I am hiring a building, and in that building, I am opening a shopping mall. By opening a shopping mall, I am earning money again and again. I am selling commodities there, people are coming to purchase, and I get profit. So this way, the money which is used to earn more money or generate more money is called capital. And the person who is having this capital is called a capitalist. The person who is investing money in order to generate more money is called a capitalist. Here I am spending money in order to open a shopping mall, then I am the capitalist. If I am having money, I shall start an industry. I am spending money. Okay, then I am an industrialist. And since I am spending money, I am investing money in order to start an industry, I can be called a capitalist. Okay. So capitalism, capital, capitalist, and capitalism. Definition you just mark down. The beginning of the page number 140 it is given. Wealth could be used for generating more wealth, which came to be called capital. Okay. Or do one thing, page number, same page only. Richard Arkwright's picture is there. Below that picture, one paragraph is there. Capital came to be defined as the money which is invested for producing different articles in a factory, or buying machinery or raw materials, and for selling finished goods in the market. All these can be termed as capital. So any definition you can learn. The money spent for or money invested for generating more money is called capital. That is simple definition. Otherwise you can mark down this paragraph and you can learn. And the person who is investing money in order to generate more money can be called a capitalist. And the economic system which empowers the capitalist came to be called capitalism. That's all about capitalism. So this capitalism was the result of Industrial Revolution. Okay, when Industrial Revolution started, people started to invest money in order to open or in order to start the industries. So this type of industrialist came to be called a capitalist. So in capitalist, even just by investing money, industries will not run. In order to run the machineries, workers should be there. So the industrialist hired workers also in order to run the industries. They installed machineries and to do the necessary works there. Machineries to run the machineries and to do the other works, workers are also needed. So they hired workers also. Okay, and they paid wages to these workers. So this type of large number of, or a new group came into being called working class. As a result of industrial revolution, society was divided into two. The one section came to be called industrialist or the capitalist, who were very rich. Okay, and the second section called working class. These industrialists exploited the working class, and that is why the condition of the working class was very bad, whereas the condition of industrialist, that was far better, or they were becoming richer and richer day by day. They were exploiting the workers. That is why the condition of the workers that remained very bad. They were becoming poor and poorer day by day. So two sections emerged in the society called the capitalist and the working class. That is one of the main consequence of industrial, industrial revolution or capitalism. So some of the thinkers they wanted to find an alternative to this capitalism because in capitalist economy, majority of the people are exploited by a minority called the capitalist. Capitalists are very less in number, means the rich people, they are exploiting a vast majority of the working class. So in order to make the society free from exploitation, an alternative to the capitalism should be find out. So some of the thinkers they find a new solution to this exploitation in the capitalist economy, and that as a result a new economic system developed, and this is called socialism. Socialism is an antithesis of capitalism. That means just opposite to capitalism. Socialism, in capitalism, the people who or the person who is having money is investing the money and he is earning more and more money, exploiting the others. Whereas in socialism, the means of production is owned not by any individual as a whole. The society or a community as a whole owns the means of production. Okay, everything in socialism, everything, all the means of production is owned by the government. Government is having more control over the means of production. Whereas in capitalism, individual is having control over the means of production. Individual owns the capital and he spends the capital, invests the capital. Whereas in socialism, it is not the individual investing capital. Capital is invested by the state or the government. All the means of production is owned by the state or the government, like land, machineries, industries, everything is owned by the government or the state, and people as a whole or as a community, as a society, they are running these means of production, these industries, or their other investments of the government is run by the community as a whole, or the society as a whole. Here, since no individual capitalist is there, whatever profit comes, the profit is shared by the society as a whole or the community as a whole. So here there is very less chance for the exploitation, very less chance for exploitation, and almost economic equality is prevailing in the society. Whereas in capitalist economy, there is no equality. Economic equality is not at all there, because the capitalists are becoming richer and richer and the workers are becoming poorer and poorer. Whereas in socialism, almost an equal economic status is maintained by society or the people. There is the gap between rich and poor is very less in socialism, whereas gap between rich and poor is very high in capitalism. Okay, that's all about socialism. The economic socialism means the economic system in which means of production is owned by the state, and the community as a whole runs the means of production. This is called socialism. Okay, it's let's see the definition. Yeah, definition is given. Socialism, page number 116. Meaning of socialism is given below that, the second paragraph. Socialism is defined as an economic system in which the means of production are owned not by private individuals but by the community, in order that all may share more fairly in the wealth produced. That is socialism, definition to socialism. So you learn these definitions. Okay, two economic systems, capitalism and socialism, then the industrial revolution, its meaning. Then one more topic is given in page number 119, comparative study between capitalism and socialism. You go through this difference between capitalism and socialism is given some points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 points are given. 9 points of difference between capitalism and socialism is given. You just read this. Okay. And if any clarification is needed, next time we will discuss it in the class. Right? So read this lesson well, understand it, then find out the question answers, write it in your copy and learn it. Only this much you need to learn in this lesson. What is Industrial Revolution? What is capitalism? Who is known as a capitalist? What is a capital? Or what is socialism? Okay, these all things you need to learn in this lesson. That's all about today's class. Okay, thank you.